What's going on, everybody? Wayne's Workshop here. I'm finally back. I got a clean bill of health. I can finally focus back on doing some YouTube content and episode 2 of how to make cosplay armor. But before I get into it, I have a giveaway of Armorsmith 2 product keys, and the way I'm gonna give them away is gonna be like a treasure hunt. Throughout this whole video there's gonna be letters popping up, sometimes like this, or maybe on a software developer, or hidden away in the background somewhere. All these letters will form software 2 words I'm reviewing, and I'm using. You can mail them on some costumes. This email address, and within everything, let's say 4 or 5 days, I will pick 2 winners and announce them on Facebook and Instagram. Now, if you haven't seen episode 1 yet, we're discussing Armorsmith. It's made by Randy Kavanaugh. So, episode 1, I showed all the features of the software, and I used her flail because it allowed me to go over more features of the software. And the reason that I switched from flail to like shin and boot is because they are easier to assemble for now, because I want to treat this tutorial series for newcomers. If you have no clue on how to build anything cosplay related, then this series is for you, and that's why I switched to something easier from flail to like this simple shin and boot template. Well, right now, if we switch to the screen, you can see that I've removed the flail and I've loaded in her boot and shin template, and I've cut it down to size because my girlfriend is small, so I have to make the boot small. If you want to see how the scaling is done, I go over that in episode 1, but in a nutshell, you can do 2 types of scaling: uniform and non-uniform. Uniform is also on all axes, or right-click, scale part non-uniform, and then you can select one of those edges, and then you can just, see, then you can only scale on one side. You make it longer and thinner, but we don't want to do that, so let's just revert back. So I've already made this fitting to my girlfriend's avatar, and then if you kind of want to mirror it, you can go into here, and then in general, mirror part, and you can highlight that, and boom, now we have 2 boots. Of course, we don't need 2 boots, so, well, we do need 2 boots eventually, but we only need the templates for 1, because then you can flip them. So if you go to pattern layout, I've already unfolded it. Episode 1 again covers the unfolding and moving and everything, so I've already sorted everything. So then you can go to File and hit that print button, and then it will print everything out, and it will look like something like this. From here on out, you can just cut it all out and have some templates. Or if you have a silhouette cameo, then this software also exports them to DXF, and then your silhouette can do all the cutting. But for now, I'll just do them by hand. So let's go to the shop. Then it's just a simple step of grabbing all your templates and cutting them out. So now that we've cut out all the templates, I want to split it up in 2 segments. I want to build this part first, that's highlighted in Armorsmith, because I kind of want to chop this part up in several videos and not make one video too long. So as for these templates, I won't be needing them, because I'll only need these templates, because those are the templates that were highlighted in Armorsmith. So now we grab some foam and we trace them out. So now that we have traced all of the templates that we're going to use, now that we traced them out, we need to see what lines have to be cut straight, inward, or outward. And Armorsmith can even help you decide what angles you need to cut. If you want to know what angles you need to cut in, this piece of software can also help you with that. If we go into the software again, I've selected one of the parts here that you can see in red, and I've zoomed in on that part. Now it shows some edge IDs. You can see that in the property tab. It says here show edge IDs true, but I don't care about edge IDs, so you can turn those off. What I do care about is the one below that, show edge angles. So hit that and it will show what angle this cut is, and this is a 20-degree cut and this is a 15-degree cut. So now you know that the adjoining piece has to be cut at a certain angle, so you can actually create that one. So if you have trouble with, you know, in angle cutting and judging and deciding what has to have an angle and what doesn't have to have an angle, this piece of software with just that checkbox, show edge angles, can help you with that also. Now, I myself do not use this function anymore because I'm kind of used to it, so I kind of eyeball it. So if we hit up the 3D model again, you can see that these two go together, but you can leave this as a straight cut, and then when you glue them together, they will kind of go inward and bend outward. If you catch my drift, I'll show that in a minute. I kind of had to draw these in reverse because this side will be glued against that side. But if we pull up the 3D model again, you can see that it goes into an angle. Not all that sharp, about, well, it's not 90 degrees, but it's also not 45 degrees. So what we'll do is, what I like to do if I need to cut it inward, I like to mark it with lines like this. And let's say I don't have to do that here. If I had to cut it outward, I would, if like this was the template, instead of the dashes, I would mark it like that for outward. But that will be covered in a later video. For now, I need to cut this line in an angle of 45 degrees inward, and this one also. These I'll leave intact. This one goes with that one, so if we pull up the model again, we can check it out what we need to do. And this top one actually goes like that, and it goes a bit inward this, so on the inside of this you can see we have to cut some on the inside. I'll show you in a bit. We'll have to cut a V groove and then bend that in and glue it, because this will go onto here. So I'll cut that also with a 45-degree inward angle. And the reason I do this beforehand is because I can get a much cleaner line, and I'm holding the knife at an angle. I can get a much cleaner line to do this like right on the first cut, instead of having a straight cut and then cutting that line again in an angle. It can get all jaggy and ugly, so I just do it on the first cut. And then you just proceed to do that for all of it. Alright, so now we've cut out all the templates, but we're not done yet, because we have to actually do some cutting on the back as well for some of them. Now here we have this template for the big one, and this one for that one. And if I pull up the 3D model again, you can see there are some sharp turns, and those sharp turns are these lines you see. Now you have them also here, but they're pretty big, and that's only because it's going to be rounded off a bit. So what I do is I won't treat all of them, but you can see in this slot here and this slot here are also two. So what I do is I take the back of my knife, not the sharp end, but the dull end, and I score the line. Same for the other one. So with the dull end of the blade, I score the line. And I do that on these ones also. And this one I already did. So what that allows you to do is fold it much more easy than to fold it just, you know, by the eye. This way it folds on the scored line. So what you do is you flip that foam template over, but also this one, and then score it or fold it again and draw lines on the back. Like so. And there. And there. And fold it. Where was it? It was right there. Like so. Now you got some lines right there. Grab your knife and grab your knife and then cut a V slot in it, a V groove. So just outside of that black line, I go down. Don't put your knife all the way through it. Kind of go only, you don't want to cut it in half. I only want to take out this little V slot, so when you have the right side facing towards you, you have this nice sharp bend, but not a glue line. And then when we get to the gluing part, I'll just slap some contact glue in between, fold it, and it will stay like this. And you do that for these lines, and you do the same for this one. Now it's time for the gluing part, and we'll start out simple by gluing these two together, and then these two to these two. We got our 45-degree angle cut, as you can see right here. And I have my handy little contact glue dispenser. I bought this one at a hardware store one day, and it comes with an integrated brush in the cap. So that's easy for spreading it out. And once this is empty, I just refill it with my contact glue that I got from Cosplay Shop Select Style. This way you can just buy it in bulk. It's much cheaper for you, and you can just refill it in one of these tiny little bottles and, well, keep it nice and portable and have an easy way to dispense it. So grab the glue, don't need that much, and just spread it on. A little goes a long way. You don't need all that much contact glue. What I also like for spreading are these little popsicle sticks, and that way you can just smear it on a little bit better than a big bulky brush. Be sure to remove the excess from the outside, otherwise you'll get these nasty ass contact glue blobs. Same for the other side, because contact glue requires you to glue both sides. And then when it's dry and you push them together, you make them contact one another, and then the bond will be super, super strong. Normally I continue gluing other stuff, but let's just leave this out to dry for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll push it together and I'll show you. All right, now it's dry. We'll start putting it together, making sure those lines line up to each other. And what I like to do also is kind of work from the outside to the middle. Just letting it touch, letting it make the contact, like so, and then you press it firmly together. And now, because it had certain bends, you can see It kind of goes inward and bendy because it's not, see, it's not straight. But that's what we want. So now that that is firmly together, we can start gluing this side to that side. So I just realized I actually made a mistake. I cut the wrong side on a 45-degree angle. It actually has to be like this because this side glues to that side, but now I don't have any 45-degree angles here. But that's all right. Mistakes can happen, but I can still save it. Either this side has to have a 45-degree cut or this side. I'm going to choose this side because it's more straight. So what do? This is the front. I turn it around and I have to cut it at a 45-degree angle. So again, your knife, you have to hold it at an angle, but start about 5 millimeters from the edge. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but if I just cut it 5 millimeters away at a 45-degree angle, you'll get. And then when you've cut it, now you've cut that in a 45-degree angle. On the front, you won't have lost anything, and then the back, you've only lost 5 millimeters, but cut in a 45-degree angle. And you do that also for that side. And there we go. You know, made a small mistake, but it's corrected now. So now we can start gluing that and that. Grab that contact glue again and just smear it on like before. Alright, so the glue is dry, so we'll start on one end, and I spilled glue on the outside here. But that's okay, we can just pinch it off. But yeah, let's glue some stuff together. It's dry to the touch, it's a little bit tacky, and that's what we want. So start here. And it's important not to apply too much pressure in the beginning, because then you can still kind of rip it loose and correct any mistakes you might have made. And like before, I like to work from the edges down to the middle. Like so. And just touch and touch and touch. And that's all connected now. And then we apply the pressure like so, and that's one side, and now the other. So again, just make a bit of contact, and then the other side. A little bit here, a little bit there. Just take your time, don't need to rush this. And then it has all the contact again, and then just apply the pressure. Yeah. Like so. Now we have these V-groove cuts in there as well, and if we look at the model, it also needs to be bent inside. So I applied some glue there and just gently push this inward like so, and then it folds to the inside. Yeah? That's it for this one. Now we have this top half that goes on top of here. So again, we'll just apply glue to all these V cuts in here and also in here, and then we will push them together, and then we will glue these together, and then that one goes on that one. All right, so the glue is dry on this one, so we'll start by putting the edges together like here and here. That will make it bend and turn like so. And then the inside has to be like there, there. Push this in. You can always look at the 3D model if you're unsure, if you want to see how it's supposed to look. So now we got the general shape of the knee plate, and this stuff goes not so much inside, so I'm kind of loosening this up again. It doesn't have such a sharp bend like so. And then we have this part, that's the top part, that goes on top of here. So add more glue, let it dry, and push together. All right, glue is dry, so let's put it on. From one corner to the next one. And it's still foam, so if you need a little bit more wiggle room, just pull it and make sure it attaches in the right place. Press it in a little bit. Oh, it's foam. It can take the beating. And if you mess up a glue line, you know, we're still gonna Dremel this and make it clean. So, you know, if you have some glue blobs or it's not aligning right, no worries, no worries. And there you go. Sorry for the crappy angle, but you catch my drift. Now we have a knee plate. And these two go together. Now, two ways you can put these together, because I kind of made another mistake, but it's kind of good that I made these mistakes because I can show you the fixes. In the template, I had to do, instead of cutting it straight here, I had to do an outward cut 45 degree, because then there would be a surface where I could glue this onto. But not to worry, because we can still use contact glue and a little bit of hot glue to fix that mistake. So let's say you made that mistake as well. You just smear it with contact glue as you normally would. So the glue is kind of tacky now, and what we do is only glue it along just the edge, not the full width of the foam. So you turn it around, and it is kind of tricky to do, but it's something you get better at with practice. It's just hit that small little edge. So you have it like this, but on the inside it's not fully glued together. Same for the other side, just along that edge. It should look like this. So it's only connecting just on the line. Now this is not sturdy, of course, because it's just glued on a little itty bitty line. So that's where good old trusted hot glue comes in, and you just fill in that gap with hot glue. And now that that's all dry, it won't come apart anymore, and we have a front shin plate and a knee cover. So I'm gonna leave the video like this for now. I've showed you some of the more of the Armorsmith and how to fix some certain mistakes. We just built the shin and the knee cover and how to attach it all. I will be covering the boot in the next video because I don't want to make a too long video. So and in that next episode we'll make that boot and we will build it around an actual shoe, because you still have to wear it. So stay tuned for that one. If you have the 2 words, then make sure you send them to the email address here. I will pick a winner in, let's say, 4 days, and the 2 words, by the way, it doesn't matter what order. It can be word 1 or word 2 or word 2 and word 1. It's fine. Just mail them if you have them, and maybe I'll pick you as one of the lucky winners of the Armorsmith product key. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. If you learned something from the video, please share this within your cosplay groups to also help your fellow cosplayer. We also have a Ko-fi account. Please consider donating a coffee. This helps support and grow the channel. Link in the description. Thank you so much.